I am so delighted and excited to bring to you today our guest, Mr. Errol Douglas MBE, industry's absolute gold, celebrity hairstylist and industry's god. Mr. Errol Douglas, thank you so much for joining us from the lovely room in your house in Chiswick, West London. How are you today?
Fantastic, really, really good. Saturday yet again. How did that happen? What is it today? Today's what, the 20th? Today?
It is the
20th of June.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. 3 months in.
I know. But I'm going back to work, so I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Errol, I've got to start with a huge congratulations on your British Hairdressing Award nomination.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. I've got to ask you, it's been how many years running that you've had this nomination?
To date, it's the 24th. Consecutively, so 24 years in a row, and I'm still there. They can't get rid of me. You're still there,
and it's such a huge achievement, and every year your name pops up on that list and everyone's rooting for you. What is it going to take to win? Tell me, Errol.
If I knew that, Jordanna, I would have left the pack quite a long time ago. Well, it's quite interesting because obviously my whole thought process is obviously given a collection which is going to be memorable, and it is quite interesting. The collection I did last year, which is obviously for 2020, but I shot it in 2019, is so relevant today in respect of what's happening. You know, I chose 8 amazing girls, and they weren't black and they weren't white. So you've seen the collection, you've got it. It is just epitome of what happens now with models backstage. You know, it's so multicultural. Everybody's kind of, you know, mother comes from Scandinavia, dad comes from Jamaica. It's that type of shoot, and I think it's very relevant. So so that was last year, but obviously it's been shown this year, and I thought I was hear it, but obviously not. You know, and congratulations to Robert. You know, beautiful collection, but back to the drawing board.
Well, I'm sure you've got something very exciting lined up for us this year. I must say, when I do look back at your collections, don't say no to me.
I don't have to shoot. I don't know if you know the rules. I don't have to shoot. So
exactly
in this climate, I'm not going to shoot because, you know, we've all been on lockdown. We've all none of the shops and none of the businesses have been in circulation. If you're fortunate enough to have a product line and your products are being sold, commercial hairdressers, high street, everything's been closed. So I'm going to take the option they've given me, so I can use an old collection or some of my old pictures. Well,
if anyone's got a big library to scroll through and choose from old collections, it's definitely you. And what I do love about your work, Errol, I must say, is it is so different every single year. You see something so refreshing that it's actually sometimes quite hard to recognize it as yours without knowing it's yours. And that is really something that I think you should be proud of. Question number 2. You are known as one of the most diverse hairdressers in the UK and globally. Now, a lot of people would say, you know, and I've been on many courses when I was starting out my career with marketing and branding experts telling me, find your niche, find what you're good at. It has to be something, you know, very, very specific for you to nail. But you have managed to make success out of being an absolutely incredible all-rounder, be it cutting, styling, hair extensions, colour, barbering, afro hair.
Love my live shows.
Tell me a bit about that, and how is it that you've managed to defy all the odds that people say, you know, you have to specify on or find your niche? How have you managed to do that?
Okay, right. I'm going to go through this in I think quite a concise way. We're all blueprints. We're all different. Everybody's fingerprint's different. And you can't categorize me. You can't categorize my brand. You can't categorize me as Errol Douglas. So I've knocked that way out of the park. But at the same time, I think it's important to come up with different things. Tiny bit state of brand because I like beauty. but then again, I go off par because, it could be quite punky, it could be quite elegant, it could be avant-garde. So it's almost different. But for me, I do not want you to know what I'm doing until I show it to you. Does that make sense? Absolutely. So I don't want that typecast, and and this is no disrespect to anybody, only because they're friends and I love them. I'm not an Akin Kanezi. I'm not a Tony and Guy. I'm not a Rush. Their pictures and their work. And artistically, I think that is brilliant because obviously it takes it to a new level. But my platform is completely turning everything on its head. Totally. So for me, that is turning everything on its head. And it's how I've trained myself and other people. So, you're seeing different genres of, black hair, European hair, influences all over the place. And our strapline in the salon or as a company is technical excellence. So we have to keep pushing it every single time. And some people said that can go against me, but I don't really think it does. I think it kind of nails home that I have a quest to be different. I just want to, I don't like pigeonholes at all. So you're not implying that.
No, I think that is fantastic. And I think there is a sense of liberation when it comes to creativity. As a creative, as an artist yourself, why would you want to restrict yourself to be on brand? And similarly, with your social media, there's a lot that shines through from your personality as well. It's not just, you're not bombarding us just with hair images. A lot of it is about personal stories. I really, really like that. And I think that is your brand.
Yeah. And I think it's important to say, because it happens in your life, Jordanna, and it happens with most of the people who are out there. I own a salon. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I'm one of these global people, but I'm part of the network, which is always moving forward. So I'm on the next shift. I'm on the next level. If I was a stagnated hairdresser or person or personality, I'd be on one level. But my levels keep on moving up because I think it's so important to be relevant and whatever you do, because you take your foot off the pedal, you're gone. It's just like, we've had 3 months to do stuff. Obviously, everybody's been doing online education till it's oozing out of their pores. But at the same time, you have to understand it's good. It keeps you active. I've been doing so many mood boarding sessions with jobs I'm doing in the future. And that to me is great because obviously I have to do loads of research to make sure I'm showing something for autumn, winter or spring, summer 2021. That side word 2020, everybody wants to forget, just get rid of it. But at the end of the day, I'm doing things, for the future. And I think it's very important. And if I stand up on stage, if I do a shoot, I have to know what's going on because I'm talking to the fashion houses all the time. I'm talking to a big organization called IFF. They kind of set the tone for fragrances and colors around the world. So, I'm always working ahead. And I think that's really important. And that comes through in the ethos of my collection, but it comes through as me, as a person, kind of talking to you on my social media and other platforms. It's important,
Definitely. And I think it's a really powerful message as well for a lot of our viewers for the hair show. We have assistants or aspiring hairdressers, and we've got a lot of young listeners and viewers. And I think it's so refreshing for them to hear from you that, don't pigeonhole yourself and the world is your oyster. And sometimes, from experience, it took me 7 years to get into hair extensions. Now that I've dabbled in that, I know that maybe that's not something I want to, specialize in. But the fact that it took me 7 years to get to that point means that you don't have to decide cutting or coloring so early on. And you don't have to brand yourself and use the same background for every single photo on Instagram, because that is taking away from your personality. And I think it's empowering to hear that message young, because it's easy to get carried away with.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things which I think is really important, because people were toying with the idea, do we do a headshot? Do we do a lifestyle picture? Do we do a fashion picture? But as you know, you can pull back, you can come forward. it's getting the picture, which is more important, but also, which I think is quite interesting, when people do photographic work or shows, especially photographic work, a lot of people don't know what they're doing. It's a bit of pot luck. But if you can get something to look cohesive or run through as a story or a great collection, everybody's going, wow. You know, the great thing about my collections, and I always say this because it always surprises me, to this day, because we used to have a legal department, would always try to calling up salons to say, that's not your image, take it down. Because a lot of people would use my image, but it's quite interesting now because that's relaxed. My images are on a lot of people's mood boards. So you know what it's like. You could be judging something, it could be some inspiration that's there. To me, that's a delight. I love that.
Absolutely, a testament to your work. Right, this is the part we're going to get really juicy, Errol. We're getting personal. Juicy. We're getting personal now. So,
it's water.
What would you say to us is the most cringeworthy or embarrassing moment of 2020?
So far, or
so far.
Okay, right. I'm going to tell this story, okay, and I hope Sid Hayes is watching because this is a really funny story, okay? And I'm just saying it, you know, we've got friends all over the industry. I'm this side of London and Sid is kind of in Barnes. So myself and my daughter, we've been walking, jogging all over West London, and we've probably been walking for like nearly 3 hours, 2 hours. So on the other side of the river, not my side, I was kind of walking along, jogging along. Okay, and you would not recognize me how I dress when I'm just doing my thing, because I kind of look a bit hoodie. It looks a bit kind of urban, but then again, oh my God, is he gonna mug me? Okay, so I saw Sid all dressed up, you know, looking great and all that other stuff. So he's running towards me, and it's that conversation. You know when somebody's looking at you, but I'm talking to them, and they're trying to talk to me, but they're not talking to me because they're thinking, who the heck is that? Do I know anybody who looks like that? And honestly, you have to picture this. The hat was on, everything. Honestly, I did not look like Errol Douglas. And Sid was just kind of running, but going like this. Because I was kind of going to greet him. But I know we shouldn't be hugging anybody in this. But I was coming up to him. And then it took him, which was even funnier, 2 days to work out
who it was.
Errol, what's that? Was that you? It was hilarious. And Yolanda was with me and said, "Did you know that person?" He didn't really.
So
he didn't get any walk there.
Errol's in his lycra. You're not going to recognise him.
No, it wasn't lycra. I don't do lycra. Remember we were talking about this yesterday. No lycra.
No.
It was quite urban, quite light. You know, okay. It was funny. It was funny. Amazing. You wouldn't recognise me. I should take a picture.
I have a feeling I would, because I know Errol's head, you know, from a mile away. I can spot the head and the glasses.
No. I had no glasses. I had a hat, had sunglasses, and I had my Beats as well. And then I took them off when I was speaking to him. But it was funny. It was very, very funny because.
Now, tell us 2 things that we as the hair community do not know about Errol Douglas MBE as a hairdressing star. What 2 things do we not know about you, Errol?
God, I've been revealing everything on Instagram. 2 things you don't know about. Oh, I haven't shown my acrylic paintings yet. I love painting.
You have a creative flair for painting.
Yeah, I've been published as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to show that one day. I've been toying with languages.
Oh, okay.
Italian. Sono felice adesso da qui. I've been toying with certain languages. Okay. But
And I hear you're the landscaper as well.
Oh, I like doing stuff. Who told you about that?
You told me last night on the phone.
Was that just last night, Joe?
Yeah.
I like anything to do with plants, and it was quite interesting. And I said an analogy in a discussion a while ago. It's quite interesting. If we put so much into each other than we put into plants and gardens, you know, this world would be flourishing, because we just don't apply that time, you know. And it is quite interesting, and it is so true. You look at somebody's garden now, you look at somebody's balcony box, you look at their front, it's insane. You know, where did people find time to do that?
The transformations, I must say, on Instagram, when I follow some home accounts and the gardens, the balconies, and even just interiors, the time people have spent is just incredible, isn't it? What's your one lesson from lockdown, Errol?
My one lesson is I absolutely have overdone it with work, meaning I've left no time for myself. So this is a great, it kind of teaches you just to appreciate everything outside. You know, all I'm saying is it's always work 7 days a week, and you know, as hairdressers, and you know what we do. If somebody picks up the phone, I would never say no to any of you. I never say no to you, and I definitely wouldn't say no to Dom. So I'm always giving, but at the same time, you know, you have to calm down, and that's what this has taught me, to absolutely be more selective, and I won't be working like a nutcase. The great thing about this, and I'm saying it because I don't want to stop commerce. You know, we need tourism, we need trade. I can't fly, and I fly all around the world for work, and I can't do nada, so I've got to stay here. So,
and there is power in just switching off, and you know, stripping yourself back to the bare, like, necessities of life, isn't it? But thank you so much for sharing. Now, have you got a message or positive message to share with our viewers as we approach 2 weeks left for lockdown before the madness begins and life goes back to that fast-paced, crazy buzz? What's the message you have to share with everyone?
The only thing I would say is hairdressers, and you know, and you have to excuse the pun, is obviously don't cut any corners, because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to try to get under the radar with protecting their clients and guests coming through the salon. So, and they won't be social distancing sufficiently. They probably won't be wearing the right PPE. So what my message would be is, you have to understand, we have to go with this now. And this happens to your boyfriend, this happens to your husband, all these people in life, and they won't notice, but they will. They absolutely will. So, you know, you can have something happen. Exactly. You can have something happen in your life. Oh, I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. You cannot do that. We will repel, and everybody would run away from us as an industry if we're not protecting our clients. So, you know,
I read something really nice the other day about, you know, being slow and steady wins the race. So let's just go back slowly, ease ourselves back in, and just take our time. Even though it's going to be so tempting to cram everyone in and just smash out 7 clients a day, let's just take our time on it.
And one thing, and this is, I think, you know, this is in a nutshell how people are. Just remember, humanity and all of us were used to kind of hugging and gathering around and breathing over everybody, spitting over it. You know, all that stuff is gone. And I'm just saying, it's just gone. Hairdressing and getting, you know, big gatherings, we're used to it. So again, it's just not that long to wait. It's only going to take, if we do this properly, 6 months will be 6 months. If we don't do it properly, we'll be going, you know, hopefully we won't be going through this again, but we'll be going backwards. If we keep our distance, wash our hands, healthy, you know, protect, you don't want that virus getting, wear your mask or face screen, we'll be fine. That's all. It's not
so only long. 6 months until we get an invite to a house party of yours then, Errol.
Well, I'm going to do, I love a good rave.
If not, we'll do a virtual house party.
Yes.
Listen, Errol, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been incredible. I could talk to you for hours on end. So thank you so much. If you guys want to know more about Errol's story, please visit episode number 53 of the How to Cut It podcast by Dom Lehane and Errol Douglas. Thank you so much. That's all we've got time for today. Listen in on the next few shows because we'll be releasing some of Errol's work and exciting VT and show reels, etc. So thank you so much and have a lovely Saturday and Sunday, and we'll see you very soon, Errol. Thank you.
You're welcome.